Thank you, Katja. Congratulations on Women Deliver so far. Congratulations, full stop. It's a great success. And congratulations on this new campaign to be launched today. So why is a gender lens important? It is because everything is very simple, really. Everything, everywhere, for everyone is relevant for everything and for everyone and for everything. A gender lens is relevant because the whole society consists of 50% of each gender, and everything affects us, which is why the gender goal, goal number 5, is so comprehensive, which is a great victory. At the same time, it's incredibly simple because it says even to end all discrimination against women everywhere. So I could actually stop there and say thank you, and then we move on. Before I continue a little bit, I'd like to first convey sincerest greetings from my executive director, Pumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, who had looked forward for more than a year to come here. And then she made, I would say, the maybe not so smart decision to have knee surgery a few weeks before coming to Women Deliver, and her doctor said, too early to travel. So she's sitting in South Africa fuming and wishing very much she was here, and she sends her greetings. But it gives me the privilege of being here. With the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals, women and girls have really moved from the sidelines to the center. And here I'm going to open this bottle because I've got this dry cough during my days here. I've probably been speaking too much. So, there. And this is really what's radical. Girls and women and gender equality was not integrated throughout and fully. They are now. It's no longer a side issue, an extra issue, an add-on. It's fully in the center. And not only in goal number 5 that addresses gender equality in such detail that we've never seen before, in such a comprehensive way that we've never seen before, addressing issues such as unpaid care work and domestic work. We had never seen that before. It's such a major part of women's lives, such a major part of what makes situation different for women and men and what puts women at a disadvantage. But it had never really been addressed in this type of document before. And so now we have started the countdown. It's 8 months ago since the goals were adopted, and we've started the countdown for the future we want, in which no one is left behind, which is also really ambitious. And for the implementation, to do what the campaign for the Deliver for Good campaign is aiming to do, to look at what areas do we then really need to focus on and to accelerate, because we want to accelerate. We don't want to wait till there's 5 years left of the agenda and wake up and say, oh, it's getting urgent when we haven't really delivered. We have to start delivering yesterday, and we have to deliver in a smart way and find what are the really strategic entry points where more change can happen. And it's going to be great to hear more about the campaign afterwards. Because if we don't do this, we look back and progress has been made, but it's not happening fast enough, and we know that. At the current pace of change, it's forecast that it will take 50 years. I'm going to be in my grave by then, so are many of you. It's going to take 50 years to achieve parity in political participation. And it's going to take not just for you, your children, your grandchildren, but for your great-grandchildren, and even then some, for true pay equality between women and men. And we don't have that kind of patience. And to break those trajectories and achieve Planet 50-50 by 2030, it will take dramatic steps and the adoption of business unusual by all of us. Because what was agreed in the 2030 agenda calls on us to change the way we live, the way we do business, grow food, value motherhood, engage and protect girls and boys, communicate and respect and recognize the rights of those different from the mainstream in their sexual orientation or in any other way. It's also important to recall that Agenda 2030, it builds on and it enhances, but it doesn't replace the ICPD or the Beijing Platform for Action, which is why for UN Women it was important to hold governments to account for what they had already signed on to the same day as the SDGs were adopted. And more than 90 heads of government and heads of state recommitted to the Beijing Platform for Action, 27th of September last year. And this was very important because it was the first time actually in history that these commitments had been made at the heads of state and government level in the UN. It had always been made by the gender minister. So to have it up at the heads of state and government, it also spills over to the SDGs and the 2030 agenda, because it says something about this is not a side issue, as I said initially. It is really a mainstream issue, and it's a leadership responsibility at the very top. If you don't take that responsibility at the very top, it's not going to happen. So that is part of our commitment as UN Women, since we are part of the UN system and we engage with governments, is to try and make sure this agenda is where it should be, at the very top of government. So other things that we think can help accelerate action, just to show you, to tell you a couple of examples where we are trying to contribute in the same way as the campaign is aiming to do. There is a partnership now to take action on barriers to women's economic empowerment, and it was spearheaded by UN Women. It was launched by the Secretary General, and it's a high-level panel on women's economic empowerment. What's nice about it is it's jointly led by a head of state and an industry CEO. So you really bring also the private sector power and decision-making into that discussion. And not only those, but it also includes participation of trade unions, women and civil society organizations, academics, IMF, and the World Bank. And I could mention the whole list, but this hopefully is also a way of putting this critical issue of women's economic empowerment at the top of the agenda. And again, not just like a gender, women's issue. So the goal 5, I'm not going to read through it because you have it and you know it, and I'm speaking to the choir here. But it's really universal and it's relevant for every country. That's also the significance of this new agenda compared to the Millennium Development Goals. And I promised to mention another example, by the way, and I have it here. Let me not forget that. We're also now creating a coalition to end the gender pay gap. We don't want to wait, was it 50 years or was it 120 years? 120, I think it was. It was that with the great-grandchildren for that to happen. So we are convening also stakeholders there to accelerate action in the spirit of the Deliver for Good campaign. And then, let me not take more of your time, but say that what I like about this campaign, what UN Women likes about this campaign, and we've been happy to discuss it in its preparatory phase and help support it that way, is that it looks at the whole agenda and all the 17 goals, because each and every one of those goals is a goal for women and girls. And in each goal, we can reflect concrete actions that focus on supporting those who need it the most. So let me stop there just to say that the pace of change we've seen, which has been too slow, is directly correlated to the investments we have made. Where we made good investments in women and girls, the return is high and life-changing. This is the spirit of Women Deliver. You invest in women and girls, and they will deliver. So to leave no one behind, we need to secure clear investments that secure clear wins. And I think the Deliver for Good campaign can help galvanize action for just that. To leave, losing my voice I think is a sign I should stop. Yeah. Lastly, to make this broad coalition, we need to engage not just those who know what we're talking about already, not just our traditional partner. We need to go outside of our comfort zone. We need to talk to those who really don't like what we're saying. We need to involve men and boys in larger numbers. And we need to talk to those who may not agree or sympathize. But we also want to be encouraged by the sheer volume of different interest groups that come together around this agenda, which we also see in the huge and broad diversity of those who are coming here to Women Deliver. So dear friends, in our hands is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to end poverty, to transform gender relations irreversibly for the next generation, to make the world a better place for all. We can deliver for good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kristen. That was lovely. And as you said, don't wait, accelerate. Investment in girls and women, power progress for all. Hashtag deliver for good. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the campaign. It is a multi-sector, multi-issue campaign that looks at girls and women in an integrated way and really put girls and women at the heart of development. You've seen this commitment, you read it, you heard it, many of you have signed it, and it is that truly heartfelt commitment to girls and women because they are the ones who will make change and accelerate progress for all. So it is the campaign, put the gender lens, as we said, focus on 12 critical investments, and when we say investments, it's both political, practical, and financial, and that will bring high returns for everybody. We did it from the theory of change that women are drivers of development. They are powerful change makers, and when you invest in their health, rights, and well-being, in their empowerment, everybody wins, and we can get and play that untapped potential. It's the right thing to do from a rights perspective, and it's also the sound thing to do from an economic perspective, and the ripple effects are vast. And now this one doesn't work. So, well, that's kind of, oh, here we go. Here we go, the 12 investments. We've started kind of where we come from as Women Deliver, the maternal health, the sexual and reproductive health and rights and that, but we also know that that's only part of a woman's life. So if we are serious, we've taken that gender lens, identified the 12 investment areas that spans the gamut. And what we're super thrilled about is that we have partners on board from the different areas, whether it's education, whether it's access to resources, whether it's nutrition, the economics, but also the health, data, and further accountability. It's just want to check everybody's got this one. Have you all studied it? That's good. That's good. And that's kind of who can be involved. Well, the quick answer is everybody, because this is, as Kristen said, this is everybody's business, and it cannot be business as usual. Yes, I will. So it's governments, it's individuals, and it's organizations, and we thought, okay, organizations that both span the private sector and civil society and networks, partnerships, other types of players here. Can we change? And these are the partners that we have on board so far. And in a minute, I'm going to ask them to come up. But first, I want to say the work behind this campaign, the preparation has taken more than a year. We've had hundreds of people involved, researchers, the best. We've developed policy briefs on everything, looked at what's the real issue, what's the problem or challenge, depending on management language. What's the investment case? What do we have of data there? And very much, what's the solution? So the 12 investment has guided the whole program for this conference. I don't know if you noticed, but those tracks that we have in those investments have guided the whole conference. So every single issue have concurrent sessions where we focus on solutions. We have honed in on case studies. We've gone through thousands and thousands of pages of research to really make this solid and involve multiple organizations. Drilled them down to 8-page policy briefs that really focus on solutions and the benefits. But also, we know that people don't read or have time to read. So we have also developed these ones. The aim is to get girls and women solidly placed in the implementation plan, national implementation plans of the SDGs or other development plans. The aim is to really change the narrative around girls and women from being only vulnerable, marginalized, etc., to being really powerful and change makers. And then it is to accelerate actions. We want to see, it's a multiple year. We discussed whether it's a campaign or it's a joint venture or an adventure, but we decided, also coming from where we come from, that it's a push. So we developed these ones because we do know that many of the negotiators are men, and these fits in both a purse and a suit pocket, and these are the investment cases drilled down to 2 pages on the 12 issues. So we are going to talk a little bit. Can we change again? Yeah. I touched upon it. It's the sound evidence that we put forward. It is the interlinkages. How many of you have had the chance to visit the Deliver for Good booth down here? That's a good amount. What you'll see there is that all of these are interconnected, and all the different partners start different places. Whether it's nutrition, you start, but then you link it up to the health, to the education, to the economic empowerment. So it's really the interlinkage there. We'll speak a little bit more about that, but it's also the best practices and the solutions that can be scaled up. It's a broad-based coalition, and it is also to support the capacity building. We have not defined the full work plan yet, because that is what we need partners for. Right now, the 12 policy briefs are up. They went up yesterday, but they are up for consultation and up for comments and up for really building the further evidence base of solutions. We do believe in that everybody has a voice in this. So Women Deliver would not come and say, this is just the way it's going to be, but that's also how we work on that. And then it is also aligned, we were aligning with many of the other efforts that's happening on accountability, both in the SDGs, but also in some of the other plans. So Women Deliver have some ideas on where we can contribute and power this, but we also know that the partners we bring on board here have so diverse competencies, networks, and things that they can bring to the table. Can we get the next slide? Maybe it works. These are some of the example of the asks that we have drilled down to. There are probably more that we could put forward. And they are all the ones that you will find on these ones, and everything is up on the web. So what can you do apart from joining? It's kind of share it, the evidence base. It is stay informed. It's speak up. It's the social hours around it, and it's support, and it is really feed in. All the solutions that we are finding here at the conference and all the concurrence one will feed into the campaign. We'll be coming out with a solution panorama, because that's what we see. It's not the problems that inspire, it's the solutions to what we can do. And really to kind of show in good kind of program management and language, we do have a logic model on how to do it. It is a little small for PowerPoint here, and it's probably also a little low energy, and we are just after lunch. So we have good printouts of these that they can be studied further. But I would like to invite to the podium Greg Beck, the Director of Integrated Development from FHI 360, who's been a great partner so far on this and really helped with the whole evidence base together with others. Minister M.A. Manan, State Minister of Finance, from the Government Republic of Bangladesh, welcome. And Women Deliver Young Leader Jennifer Chinoy Amadi from Nigeria. Come on up, Jennifer. Yeah, if we just skip the last chair over there, then this is good. Yes, no, if you said that, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to look at how does Deliver for Good resonate with the organizations and work, and your work to implement the SDGs in the setting that you are in, and look at them through the gender lens. So great. FHR 360 work a lot on integrated development. Would you just explain what you mean about that and how what you will bring to the campaign?
Sure.
Thanks.
And thank you, Katya, for the opportunity to be here this afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with fellow panelists. It's exciting with the rollout of the Deliver for Good. So you know very well, as do our audience, that the lives of women and girls are incredibly and inherently complex, and they have multiple burdens that are interconnected. Unfortunately, though, overall our development practices seem to continue to unfold in a really siloed and highly segmented fashion. And I think that approach fails to recognize the multidimensional nature of women and girls' lives, and lives that are oftentimes impacted by inequality. So applying an integrated lens to the lives of women and girls, I think, will help us to better understand the multiple forms of discrimination and disempowerment, and will also help us to really understand the political and the social and cultural drivers behind that. So I think the more that we can apply an integrated lens on those lives is going to be extremely important.
It is. And it goes way beyond SDG 3 and 5, doesn't it?
It does,
yeah.
In fact.
And if I may turn to the Minister. So can you tell us a little bit about how you and Bangladesh in general plan to invest in girls and women in an integrated approach?
Well, thank you. Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Glad to be here and to share our experience with our audience here. Well, ours is a low-income country, is very well known. We don't have much money. A lot of people, half of them are, of course, obviously women. You see, our constitution, that is our main law of the land, that tells us that we have to seek ways to eliminate all kinds of discrimination for all kinds, gender and race or religion, whatsoever. Then, of course, we have been over the years, we realized that times have changed, that we have to update our various laws and various things that govern our society. That's number one. Number two, we also have signed up to SDGs and MDGs earlier and other conventions where we are committed to do more for women and other sectors of society which are behind. So I would ask this question: what if these SDGs were not there, MDGs were not there? These are things that we have to do of necessity, bring our women up to the level that they can participate fully, rightly, and completely in the social development. Now that, how do you do it? Well, we have various policy strategies where we provide fast track or preferential treatment for various kinds of things for women, like recruitment for jobs, opening up all jobs for qualified women. Even in some cases, we have lowered the bar for women to be able to enter, like in the primary education, which is the basis of all education in the country. we have reserved 60% of all employment for women. We have lowered one notch down for the women to be able to enter for a number of years. We can't do it for long, obviously, for now initially. And then we have done something visibly. One is very clear. In the political arena, we are way up front. For the last 20 years, women have been the chief executives in our country. Our prime ministers for about 4 or 5 terms running. And then at this moment, the prime minister, of course, a woman, committed to this work herself. She does things demonstrably, clearly favoring women, and we don't protest that. Speaker of the National Assembly is a woman. Leader of the opposition is a woman. 5 ladies or women are in the higher judiciary. In various fields, like say in the medicine, in engineering. We have 30 public universities at this moment in our country. Of them, 5 are women vice chancellors, which is a very outstanding thing in our country. Professors, I can't name so many ways they are running in now. Only shortage at this moment is that we are short of resources. And we are trying to find resources within the country. We would like to be on our own rather than looking up to north and to west to be able to get those and do things. We have decided we'll do it our way. Friends are welcome, of course welcome, doors are open, but what if nobody turns up, we'll still do it ourselves. That's the commitment.
And you have some good experience in gender responsive budgeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give 3 quick advices to other countries on what you think they should do?
Okay. I work in the Ministry of Finance. You see, all the national development projects, we call them, there are papers on the DPP, Development Project Proposal, they have to prepare, everyone who wants in every ministry. So when they come with a proposal to the National Economic Council, which is headed by the Prime Minister, which sits every Tuesday in the morning at 10:30, positively, you see the papers will have to say how much money, for what purpose. And there are chapters in the project proposal where they have to explain how it impacts on children, on women, and other left out sort of groups. And also, other important thing is how it impacts the environment. So women and environment are 2 latest subjects which are up front and they receive attention there. And again, we have a very strong civil society group of people who track the expenditure we make in various ministries. We claim that we have spent so much money this year for so-and-so work. We have to say how much of it has gone directly to benefit women. So we are gender, women, expenditure tracking, auditing, and then again from time to time raising voices and saying that this needs to be done and that needs to be done, addressing those issues. So these are the ways we address and we do things like that.
So it's work with civil society, make sure that you're...
Very strong civil society at this moment, headed by women in most cases.
Well, you're good on that. You have a lot of strong role models there.
Okay.
Yes, thanks. And talking about role models, I always see that the young people being fantastic role models. So Jennifer, would you just speak a little bit about, or some about, how can young people, what can this bring to young people, and what can young people bring to deliver for good?
Thank you, and thank you, Minister, for the role models. Yeah. First of all, young people, we make half of the world's population today. About 3.5 billion of us are under 30, and that's huge. And the way the SDG is being implemented will definitely affect our future. And because it will affect us, it is very imperative that we come to the center stage of the implementation of the SDGs. And Deliver for Good is this beautiful platform for us to voice what we want and how we want the SDGs to be implemented to impact the life of girls and women. I'm a girl and I'm a young person. I believe that our voices are young people everywhere in the world, put together is a huge power to make the changes that we demand for the future that we want. And I'm here standing as a young person, and with every other young person in the world, with every young people in the world, that we could come into and make our voice heard, take up the Deliver for Good campaign in our various communities to change the narrative around girls and women, and to make sure that the SDG is being implemented to benefit us, to make our life worth living.
And what are the 3 advices you would give the partners here on how to involve young people in it?
Oh, thank you. This is beautiful. I love this question. Yes, and the advice I would give is to, bring the young people, bring them on board, not just to, to shine light, like a shining toy, like one of my colleagues just say. We just want to be key stakeholders because we know these issues, we got the solutions, and we know how to deliver these solutions. We want to be there, starting from the design, and we want to be giving, want to take account, hold them accountable on how, like you said, a lot of, like, there was a gender-centered budgeting, in his own country. So we want to make sure that what the budget is set to be done is actually done in delivering or make sure that the SDG is implemented to benefit us everywhere. And I want to say something. Back home in Nigeria, actually met a young lady. At the age of 14, she went to a facility to actually ask for emergency contraception. She was thrown out because she's a girl and she's expected to just stay. So what I'm saying there, I'm actually speaking for the young people that the Deliver for Good campaign and being a tool to make sure that the SDG is being implemented, to benefit the girl and the women everywhere, that is being done the way it should be done.
And a question to all 3 of you. So the big aim of the campaign is to really make sure that women and girls and women are placed at the heart of the national implementation plans and, don't wait, accelerate, and the acceleration and the implementation of the SDGs. From an integrated development approach, Greg, what should countries do?
Well, I think first is probably empowering grassroots organizations to be engaged at both the subnational and the national level, and really reflecting the true needs and the wants of the communities and where those local organizations and national organizations are working. And what I oftentimes find, Katya, is when people kind of get past the sort of the intellectual conversation of do we integrate or not, is it too big, is it too difficult, they're like, okay, how do I do that? So oftentimes what we recommend is, well, first of all, just begin recognizing what are the adjacencies or nearby influencers on the particular human development challenge that you're trying to address. And then it's really important to then, I think, really understand a bit more about how we can then break down those silos, and I think help by just looking at those nearby relationships or where that connective tissue might be is really helpful. But again, people are looking at what are the tools that we have to do that, and so FHI 360 recently created a development sector adjacency map, and it's a planning tool that helps people to just sort of begin understanding what are some of those relationships or what are some of those adjacencies that work together historically, or where we have evidence around that. And it helps people to begin thinking outside of their particular silos or disciplines that they're oftentimes stuck in, as many of us are. And then once you kind of get an idea of what you want to begin adding into the programs, again, whether at the national level or the village level, you can actually turn to our other tool, which is an evidence map, so that once you figure out what you want to be combining, we now have a map that will help you to understand how to implement that integrated program.
And Mr. Minister, if I may, when I look at some of the donors or countries giving ODA, big foundations, thinking like this goes kind of against their budget lines and their programs. What can you as a country, what can you from, for example, Bangladesh, how can you help push that thinking of integrated development? Because it sounds sometimes as if you are way ahead when you have the...
Okay. Thank you once again. Let me share one thing with you. Our strategy, the very basis of our strategy is of patience. We realize this is high-risk social engineering. High risk in the sense, we are in a traditional society, rural, poor. So doing things there would take patience and time. We realize that. So how we are going? We are not going to do any adventures here. We are not going to be sort of making very extraordinary steps and trying to destabilize. So we are doing in a very quiet way so that no one feels that their person is heart are left behind. Maybe it'll take a little longer, but then I think at the end of the day we do it better that way. And in the parliament, in the bureaucracy, everywhere, gradually we are making the women more visible. Whenever a job falls vacant in the upper echelons, Prime Minister makes it a point, hey, look for a woman if someone is around. She says loudly in the cabinet meetings, now look, I want a woman for this job. Absolutely, and we go out and see. So the point is that doing things visibly, doing things affirmative action, but at the same time also doing things in a way that no strata of the society feels that their lifestyle or values have been sort of challenged.
So,
That's very important, we think.
so patience, Jennifer. What do you think when you hear patience?
Okay, when I hear patience, the first thing that comes to my mind is we continue doing what you're doing and hoping that it gets better.
But do we have a lot of time to act? It of course depends on what do we mean about patience. Are we talking a month? Are we talking 2 generations?
No, we don't have that much time. We won't
Oh,
do
good.
that. We have annual development plans. We have 5-year plans.
Good.
So it's not decades.
No.
You
Good,
do
good,
that.
good.
We have lived through all these years and, we can afford a few more years of... The point, again, we're trying to emphasize is that we would not like to destabilize. We would not like to... No one should feel hurt or no one should feel that we're trying to impose things which have not been familiar in our country. That's very important for us. And I think I'm sure you would also agree in the sense that we are trying. Context to Bangladesh is quite different, and there are many countries like that in the world also, I'm sure. We have traditional societies with values, with property rights and social rights, which we are, slowly with new legislation and economic activity we are changing. But we need to be patient here. Again and again, we are staying, underscoring that point.
We need to be patient, but we don't need to settle with the status quo.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So, don't wait, accelerate.
Absolutely no.
Good.
Lifetime. I don't know about
good.
minimum just to live anyway.
And then they can be longer or shorter the lifetime.
Things
Yeah.
are changing, The
Yeah.
moment you reach a critical mass, it just breaks.
Yeah.
That's where we're heading now.
It's good.
I think so.
I think we just have a couple of minutes for questions. If there's any questions to this great panel or about Deliver for Good, and then we'll invite the partners up to do a little fire talk. Aletta from FHR 360.
We've mentioned several times over the course of the last few days, business as unusual. What does that mean?
Business as unusual. What does that mean? Do you want to go first, or should I? Good.
What do we mean by business as unusual? Differently, we have this tremendous
Yeah. From our point of view, business as unusual means something like Deliver for Good. Integration really look at the girl, the woman at the center of development and not come to it from either an issue or a sector perspective. We have long seen, as long as I've been working in this, that people would go in and then they would fight for their own issue but without looking at the big picture. And that could be if you came from water, you would fight for water. If you came from health or from maternal health, you would fight for that. If you came from newborn, it would be even, so people would fight for their own, but often the bigger perspective would get lost. This is an integration and putting the person, the individual, at the center from a lifetime or kind of a life cycle approach, more holistic. So that's when I mean business as usual. That's one. That's kind of from the issue perspective. From the stakeholder perspective, it is when I say this is everybody's business, it means this plays into governments, it plays into private sector, it plays into the NGOs, it's the academics, it's the journalists, it's the activists, it's the change makers at every level. in that sense that the SDGs are not a UN project, it's everybody's business. And if we want to put girls and women at the center of development, no matter what issue you come from, because we know that's from where there we have the untapped potential, that's where we can see some of that acceleration, then we also need to look at it in an unusual perspective. That's what we're doing here. This is not a menu where you can pick and choose. It is the roadmap. And really kind of what I find wonderful, and that will kind of lead me over to the next part, is the wide array of partners who are signing into this. If Women Deliver had stayed in our own, kind of little corner where we started from, we would have played with 10 organizations who were also doing maternal or sexual and reproductive health and rights. But this is really different in that sense. One more question. Yep.
Hi, thanks. I have a question for Jennifer.
Would you say who you are?
Yeah, my name is Melanie Grout, and I'm with a land rights organization called Landessa. Thanks for the panel. I've really heard your message loud and clear about youth being a key stakeholder and need to be involved as key stakeholders. I'm wondering if you have any advice for those of us who are looking to involve youth more and better. Are there examples or models or tools that we can look to better understand how to do that?
Thank you so much for your question. And I think I'm a Women Deliver Young Leader class of 2016, and this is awesome. This is what I call meaningful youth engagement. This is one way you can engage youth to be part of the change. So in your own organization, you can actually have a model for youth or engage them in design, implementation of your project to put them at the center so they can actually deliver for you.
Great. Thank you. And I am going to ask the partners to come up here. I'm going to move this one away. Would you, I say thank you to the distinguished panel. Thanks a lot. And so this is one of our signatory boards. I can tell you that we this morning got the Crown Prince and the Crown Princess of Denmark came and signed, and there's been great other people, many of the ministers from the Ministers Forum have been by, and the parliamentarians. It's been a good session with the young leaders as well. We have 5 of these boards, so they are good filled down in the exhibition area. So if I may ask the partners to come up here and join me. I'm going to move one of the chairs so we can be here and sign. Yes, and may I ask Anna Birgitte Albrechtsen from Plan International to come up as the first one? Yes, please. And if you have time to stay for photo up, you're welcome, or have a stand-in. And Peter Michael Prusan Jørgensen from BSR. Here you are.
Thank you, Katja.
Catherine Nyombaro, Deputy Director Dandelion, Kenya, and from FemNet. Great, yep. And right after that, the Global Partnership for Education, Jeff Adelaide. Thank you. Hand it over. IPPF. Do stay up here, Catherine. Alison Marshall. Thank you. And if you come over here to the other side afterwards, Melanie Grout from Landessa. Thank you. Carl Hoffman, President and CEO from Population Service International. Great. We're good with 2 signatures, that's great. Thank you, Catherine. And Scaling Up Nutrition, Gerda Verbuck. Thank you very much. Yep, go up, that's good. That's good. It is a movement, that's good. If we just have a quick photo up, then we'll do a, yes, sorry, a letter, I'm so sorry, we heard from Letta Williams from FHR 360.
Don't worry, I would remind you.
That's good. Nana, do you want to come up and sign yourself? Nana Kaur from Every Woman, Every Child and the Secretary General's office. Thanks. 30-second each on why you are joining Deliver for Good. Is Anna Birgitta still there? Yes, she is. Great. Microphone, you got it.
Thanks a lot. And lovely to be here. Great to be part of this new partnership. Plan International is part of this because we're a girl. And because I am a girl, we'll over the next 15 years take everything that we've learnt and scale up, and we will hold governments to account for the promises that they've made under the SDGs, and we will work with everybody in new and different ways to innovate. So we're very excited to be part of this. Thanks.
Thank you. Peter Michael?
Thank you. Well, I'm from BSR, and we're proud and we are energized and we're truly committed to being part of this. Our mission is to create a just and sustainable world, and we cannot conceive of such one without gender equality. The Crown Princess said earlier this week, we need a shared agenda. Deliver for Good campaign does exactly that. It delivers a shared agenda, but we also need to action it. This is what we want to do. We want to bring business to the table. We want business to action its resources, whether it's in procurement, it's sales, it's marketing, it's research, it's product development. We want also business to enable others to follow and join it. And we want business to influence governments, to change bad laws. We want to change attitudes and bad behaviors. So we think business has a lot to do. Women deliver, business must deliver.
Great, thank you. Catherine?
At
Femnet?
Thank you. At Femnet, we feel proud to join the global efforts that continue to amplify and feature moments and women's rights and as central to development. And we will commit to amplify how multidimensional inequality intersect to also magnify the gender inequality and be part of thinking how solutions to that should look like, as from the African perspective. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Jeff, from the Global Partnership for Education?
Thank you very much. And as it was said yesterday at the morning plenary, the SDGs start with gender equality. And gender equality, SDG 5, is only possible with SDG 4. I'm from the Global Partnership for Education. Yet today, on our website, you can find this new strategic plan. And here's our commitment, reading straight from it. Under GPE 2020, we will direct financial support to low-income and lower middle-income countries, especially those with high numbers of out-of-school children and significant gender disparities. We do that because educating a girl is the best way of delivering for good.
Wonderful, thank you. Alison, IPPF?
So now, as we start implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, is the time to drive investment in women and girls. And all the evidence shows that enabling women and girls to realise their sexual and reproductive health and rights is the key to unlocking their potential and their power. So IPPF hopes that the Deliver for Good campaign will help to accelerate delivery of SRHR, comprehensive sexuality education, gender equality, and women's empowerment right across the world. Because if not us, who? If not now, when? And if not together, how?
Great, thank you. Melanie from Landesa?
Great, thank you. We are really thrilled to be joining this campaign, and at the heart of it, we're joining because we care about really robust progress on development goals. And as an organization working on land rights and women's land rights, we know that women's land rights are directly tied and linked to so many different development issues, from gender-based violence to education to health to climate change. So really, I'd say what we're excited about with this campaign is this idea of breaking down silos and leveraging these interlinkages that we have to each other's work. Thank you.
Down with the silos. Carl from PSI.
Thank you, Katja, and bless you for your energy, by the way. I am Carl Hoffman. I'm proud to be the president of PSI, but I also feel the need for a gender lens, and so I asked my colleague from PSI Tanzania, Catherine Paul, to read our commitment.
Yay.
Thank you very much, Carl. Actually, this gives me a lot of empowerment as a girl and as a young woman. It's a great privilege to be among women and men in this platform here. And I'm going to use this for my own advantage and for the many women and girls, young leaders out there who are looking for such a platform as well. So going on to what PSI wants to do, Deliver for Good campaign will help us achieve the SDGs very fast. PSI believes that when a girl and woman have greater access to products and services, and most importantly, autonomy in decision making, health outcomes improves very fast. And so PSI, we pledge to put her first, hashtag put her first, by listening to the true needs of girls and women in how we design and implement our programs. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you very much. Scaling Up Nutrition Movement. We are here because we are used to work together with the different stakeholders, so we are doing business as unusual, because indeed we have to come out of our silos, work together and ask ourselves, what can we bring to the table? How can we work together? How can we start to trust each other? And how can we work together in a result-oriented way? That's one point. The other point is we have to start with girls. Put your bet on girls. Start to invest in women and girls, because starting at the life cycle, we all know that good food and good nutrition starts already with the inception, and it is for the first 1,000 days is of immense importance. But let's invest in girls, let's invest in women to create a better world.
And FHR 360 has been with Women Deliver since this was just an idea. Adela Williams, you have contributed a lot, and what are you going to continue to put into this? Because so far it's been wonderful.
Fabulous. It's been a great collaboration, Katja. Thank you. 45 seconds, so I will stick to script. The evidence is clear. We've heard it today. We know it to be true, that women and girls have less access to resources and opportunities and are subjected to exploitation, violence, and abuse. And because these global challenges are complex, demanding, and interwoven, the solutions we know have to be connected as well. We are proud, FHI 360 is delighted, thrilled, proud, and honored to support Women Deliver in this Deliver for Good campaign, and to contribute to the body of evidence of what works and what doesn't. It's time we meaningfully engage girls and women as equal partners at all levels and stages of development to help ensure they have the decision-making power necessary to shape their societies and to influence and improve their own lives. Wonderful. And so we're delighted to hashtag Be Bold for Her.
Wonderful, thank you. And then we have Every Woman, Every Child, and Nana from the SG's office, a supporter voice of the Deliver for Good campaign.
Thank you, Katja, and I want what you're on right now. You have so much energy. So Every Woman, Every Child and Women Deliver have always had a very special and close relationship, and one of our core and valued partners. And Every Woman, Every Child fully supports the Deliver for Good campaign, not only because we are in complete convergence on the vision for the SDGs, and how do we achieve those SDG goals by 2030, by putting women, children and adolescents and girls at the center of that. So together we will work on delivering those 12 investment cases, making sure that those 12 investment cases are at the heart of discussions among leaders and among different stakeholders,
and we will also work together on joint advocacy to make sure we realize our vision.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And thanks to all the partners. Thanks to all of you for becoming partners. Deliver for Good, stall down there, sign up, sign the commitment, and let's do this together. That's the way we're going to change the world. That's the way we're going to put girls and women at the center of development and Deliver for Good. Thank you.